Hi, and welcome to YogaU. I'm Jasmine, and this is Lauren. And in this tutorial, we'll be working on some shoulder openings in Tadasana. And with the use of props, which you'll need 2 blocks and a strap, it'll be very revealing about where we tend to move where it's easy and avoid where it's hard to move. Just for an illustration, we'll not use any of the blocks. So I just want to show where people tend to take the path of least resistance in avoiding opening the shoulders in the right way. So come to the front of your mat and stand in mountain pose. Now, Urdhva Hastasana and Tadasana is one of those shoulder openers that people tend to borrow a lot of work from the lower back. So Lauren will demonstrate what people often do instead of truly opening the shoulders. So when you're ready, reach your arms up. So Lauren is doing a great job of overly exaggerating this, but you can see how she has really arched her lower back, and instead of truly just opening and isolating the movement in her shoulders, she has replaced some of that mobility with the hypermobility in her lower back. So let's come back to mountain pose once again. And let's show that a little slower. So raise your arms and then pause where you meet some resistance. Keep your tailbone descending. Now reach your arms up any amount. And then when you start to feel the tightness and the resistance, pause there. So that's probably her most accurate limit. And then she can easily cheat or take the path of least resistance by completing this movement in her lower back. So show it. Yes. So you can see how she hasn't really opened her shoulders anymore. She's just moved in her lower back. And that's a hypermobile part of the spine that we're not interested in moving more. Now take your arms by your sides. And so that range of motion in the shoulders is called flexion. And now we'll work in the other way in extension. And in this one, it'll be very revealing where people tend to do a lot of the work. So start by interlacing your fingers behind your back. Find your mountain pose from the feet through the pelvis and through the crown of your head. Now reach your knuckles back and up. Pause at your limit. And then see if you can go further. And then go further. And then so often what people do, and let's just exaggerate this movement, is that people move the chin forward. So they end up moving too much in the cervical spine, in the neck, in an effort to get the arms back more. So release that. And now we'll work with props in the wall so that we get some pretty clear feedback about where our habits tend to lie and where we tend to rely on our flexibility. So set up at the wall with your back to the wall. And then you're going to take a block in the flat position between your feet. And your big toes will touch and your heels will not. So you want your feet parallel, the outer edges of your feet parallel to one another. And then you'll take another block and place it between your thighs so that you can really imprint how much work the legs actually do in Tadasana. Now, when you're standing completely up against the wall with your heels touching your buttocks, your shoulder blades, and the back of your head, this basically is the correct alignment that we want for Tadasana. You'll notice that the lower back and the neck are away from the wall, and that's because we've got the natural curve of the lumbar spine and the cervical spine, and that's why they don't press into the wall. Now, starting with your feet, you'll root down through the 4 corners of both feet. You've got this block between your thighs, so gently grip the blocks without squeezing too hard. Gently grip the blocks. Spin your inner thighs towards the wall behind you. These are very subtle actions, and as you do that, relax the flesh of your buttocks. Now take the sides of your navel back towards the wall, not to the extent that you end up flattening your lower back, but there's just an awareness. Lift your sternum and ascend the crown of your head. Now this is the spine you want to maintain as you reach your arms up. Now so we're going to use a strap, but the moment your lower back moves further away from the wall, that's an indication to you that you've done some of the work or you've borrowed some work from your lower back. So next you'll have a strap that you've pre-measured. You want to measure it so the same distance you are from shoulder to shoulder. If you know you're tighter in this direction, then you're welcome to have the strap a little bit wider than shoulder distance. You'll take the strap just around your wrists or your forearms. Don't have it around your elbows as we sometimes do because it'll just hit you in the forehead when you raise your arms. All right. Again, align from the ground up. Raise your arms so that they're parallel to the floor. Now take the sides of your navel back and soften your front ribs. Now keeping against that resistance of the sides of your navel going back, your front ribs moving towards your frontal hip bones, use your next inhale and slowly raise your arms. Move slowly so you really notice the moment it becomes harder. And once you notice the moment it becomes harder, can you rein in your hypermobility in the lower back? Raise your arms and then see if you can take your arms back any amount more. And the reason we have the strap here is people often have their elbows bent. So I want you to break into the strap. Keep the strap taut. Now as you raise your arms overhead, spin your inner arms forward or spin your inner arms to your outer arms. Notice if that action bends your elbows. Again, break into the strap. From your feet, through the core of you, and through your fingertips, lengthen. Exhale and release. Take your arms by your sides. So I'm standing in Lauren's profile, and I can really see that nothing has changed in her lumbar spine. She's maintained the neutral curve in her lumbar spine when opening her shoulders. So we'll take that a few more times, dynamically in and out, just to really imprint that awareness. So the strap's just around your wrists. And again, I also like to move this buckle closer to one hand so that the strap is not moving in front of you. All right. Turn your palms to face one another, and that action initiates that external rotation in your shoulders. From your inner arms to your outer arms, roll out, and then firm your outer upper arms in. Now root down into your feet, spin your inner thighs towards the wall behind you, and compact your outer hips. Take the sides of your navel back, and now as you inhale, raise your arms. So just let the shoulders do its work. It will upwardly rotate. There's no need to drag the shoulders away from the ears. Just soften the base of the neck, but just let your shoulders do the movement it needs to do. Take the sides of your navel back so you're not borrowing from your lower back. Exhale and release. Take your arms by your sides. And let's do that once more. Raise your arms so they're parallel to the floor. Spin your inner arms to your outer arms. Firm the outer arms in. Again, without moving in your spine, don't change your spine. Just move your shoulders. Raise your arms. Raise your arms, and you'll notice that your shoulder blades upwardly rotate on your back. Please do not drag your shoulders away from the ears. Let the base of your neck just soften, but there's no need to draw the shoulders down your back. Raise your arms. Lengthen your sides. Use your arms as helpers here to lengthen your sides. And then can you take your arms back any amount? Spin your inner arms forward. From your outer arms in, and then soften your front ribs towards your frontal hip bones so that you have, from that resistance, you have something to lengthen away from. Exhale and release. Arms by your sides. Okay, so that was shoulder opening in Tadasana, Urdhva Hastasana in Tadasana. We open the shoulders in flexion. And now we'll come away from the wall so that you've got at least an arm's length. And we'll take the shoulder, we'll open the shoulders in extension. while still maintaining Tadasana. Again, without disrupting the natural curves of your spine. And you'll notice here how people tend to move the chin forward because it's easy to move in the neck. So start with your feet parallel. Inner thighs spin towards the wall behind you. Relax the flesh of your buttocks. Take the sides of your navel back. Good. Often people also thrust forward with the navel. So imprint that. Lift your chest. Ascend the crown of your head. Keep your chin level to the floor, and then you'll interlace your fingers behind you. Now, if you know you're tight in this direction, you can always hold onto a strap or hook your thumbs. Now, shrug your shoulders up just a tiny bit so you soften the base of your neck. And now, on your next breath, reach your knuckles back without moving your navel or your chin forward. So it's very telling when you practice with this alignment, it's very telling how much shoulder opening is truly accessible to you. Again, don't try to move in the lower back or the neck. Keep your neutral spine. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, release. Switch the interlace of your fingers. So you're basically just taking a different thumb, different index finger on top. Lift your kneecaps. Spin your inner thighs towards the wall behind you. Relax the flesh of your buttocks. Now, take the sides of your navel back so you already imprint that and have your chin level to the floor. Now reach your knuckles back and up without disrupting anything in your spine. Keep the natural curves of your spine and isolate the movement in your shoulders. Stay to inhale here. And as you exhale, release. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and let that imprint, the isolation of the shoulders, the movement in the shoulders, carry with you in every Surya Namaskar A that you do.